Hi, I want to talk to you a little bit about chores today. So this is a question that comes up quite a bit, and it's really takes a different mindset in looking at chores and getting things done. So first of all, if you've done the parent training, you may know a little bit about this. If you've done the Family First program, or have done some days with us, then you probably know a little bit more about it. So hopefully this will also help you as you continue on your way. So the thing with chores, first of all, we go into it knowing that we are not going to force the kids to do chores. We cannot force them to do anything. So we want to set up an environment that makes doing chores and tasks and preferred and non-preferred activities just part of everyday life. So I usually recommend getting rid of chore charts and getting rid of this idea that your kid has certain chores that they have to do, and that everybody kind of has their own chores, and rather that we do this together as a family. So let's say we're going to go clean up the kitchen. We all go do that, and if somebody's having a struggle and they don't want to do it, then they are going to be staying by you and doing that chore, and you are going to be helping them to do that. There's other times when we set up chore times and we're teaching how to do the chores. So make sure that is separate than just, those are called teaching times, when it's like, hey, I'm going to show you how I want the floor vacuumed. I know you already know how to vacuum the floor, but I'm going to show you how I want it. And then you're being instructional. You're showing them, how to do a pattern, which is really good for our kids' brains. Having them do it a certain way. Same thing with cleaning the bathroom. Have, maybe 3 steps or 5 steps. Show them one time, have it written down, the way that you want it done. But teaching it is like coming around that chore. And so the thing that I want to talk to you about moving on from that, like when you start going, been in the program for a while and you start maybe not having to do the chores with them, but you're having them like, okay, you're going to sweep the kitchen or you're going to clean the bathroom. I want you to have those steps. And so if there's like 3 steps, like remember, I want you to do it the way I taught you, or it may be a time when you just want it done, or you need them to do something in that moment because they've maybe had a meltdown, and so you're getting up to do something else. And so that chore is maybe a quick time chore. So we had chores that we did, I want it done really well, follow all the steps, and then we had times when we just said, I want the bathroom wiped down, I want it to look good because we have people coming over. And so there's a difference, right? The main thing that I see is that once the kids do the chores, and granted, they don't do the chores very well. A lot of times nobody else in the house does the chores that I would like done the way I would like them done. So I pick the chores that are really important to me to be the ones that I do, and use those sometimes for teaching moments, like, hey, I'm going to vacuum, but I want to show you what I do when I vacuum. But if I have a kid vacuum, I just want you to be really careful about how much criticism you're adding to that. Most of our kids and their brains, you may think you're being instructional, they're just hearing criticism. They're hearing, I don't do it right. And especially if you already have a problem with a kid doing a task, the last thing you want to do is to then keep sending them back to redo it or do it better, or to, because they didn't do it thoroughly. Even if they do a really, and pardon my language, but even if they do a really crappy job, I really think that we need to let go of it. Because the thing is that we're moving through the schedule, we're doing these things, we're all doing our part, and getting that compliance and getting them to do this thing. That's what we're working on, that we're doing it together. We got that movement. And so we don't want to keep going back and dealing with that. Like, save that for another time, save that for a teaching time, save that for you to do. It's just where you are. It doesn't matter to me what age the kids are. I mean, when my kids were younger, like, I knew that their chores weren't going to get done that well. When they got older, I know I had more expectations on it. but I just found that it became a different kind of battle if I was like, nope, that's not good enough. Nope, that's not good enough. So that's when I started doing more of the like, here, let me show you how I wanted it done, you know, kind of thing, and teaching in those moments and putting it kind of back on me. And honestly, you think that you're going to have more battles, or you think that it's going to, you know, these kids will never do chores, or they're never going to help. Yes and no. I think that you're going to have less battles. I think that things will get done faster. I think people will have a better attitude. I think it creates a sense of we're all in this together, and here, let's all go do this. And that's the kind of atmosphere that we want. When we did chores, when my kids were growing up, it was kind of like, hey, we're all doing chores. So I'm going to do these 3 chores, you do these, you know, and if somebody was struggling, a lot of times my youngest, then he was with me doing the chores. And, but eventually they know how to do it. And you'll have greater chances of those times being more agreeable, so that they will be more agreeable to doing it when I need it done. So just some tips on that. If it presents more questions, you can always get on our Facebook page, our group page, and ask more questions. You know, I have a lot of parents that are like, what? You mean they're never going to do chores by themselves? You know, they're pretty much convinced that you had them in your family so that they would be your slave. So, you know, just you can just know that they're never going to be your slave. But we do want agreeable, like, let's do this work together. And I have seen a lot of kids really come around and be really good helpers and be willing. And that's the main thing we want. We want a willing attitude. We want this to be kind of normal family life, that we all do this stuff, rather than, oh, I've got to get my chores done. I've got to go do this, and you didn't do this right. So good luck.